So the last 6 months, I've been doing a lot of converting our face-to-face work, not just using Zoom, but also using some online platforms and software that I thought you might find helpful. I have loved them, and these are my 2 favorites. So we're going to do a really quick and dirty demonstration on both of them. And then at the end of this, I'll do a real quick poll if you'd like more in-depth support or training on these. Both of the websites have pretty good tutorials to get you started. They've got video tutorials and everything. So to get started, just a real quick idea. If you haven't worked with the regional math centers, we are housed at Idaho State University, but our funding comes from the State Department of Education from the Idaho Math Initiative. All right, so normally this would be a big discussion, but I'm going to plow through to get to the good stuff. Hang on just a second. My little one was not going to wait to be left in the room. Okay, so what words would you use to define a rich, quality learning experience? So in the chat bar, take 30 seconds and type in some words that come to mind for rich, quality learning experience. What sort of experiences do the students or kids need to be having in order to fit within this? So I'm seeing students talking to each other, doing something, exploring. Self-discovery, collaboration, hands-on learning. They need a chance to tell what they are thinking. All right. Those are the same types of descriptions that I came up with as well. But what I noticed, I have a son that's going to be a senior in high school this year. And last year, as a closing junior, there was this misconception that when we assign it, they'll just learn it. So my son's online or remote learning experiences were basically assignment completion. So if I assign this, then they're learning. If I assign this, then they're learning. And I can tell you from a parent perspective, oh, that's far from accurate. Oh, really far from accurate. So there are some tools that we have available to us that will help improve their online or remote learning, incorporating those very things that you put in the chat bar. All right, so I'm going to go over Voicethread first, and then we'll talk about Desmos. So Voicethread, I don't know if you're familiar with screencasting. You've probably seen some version of it where basically I play my PowerPoint and it screen records. So screencasting will, you can do it through different software, or my computer will do it through a screencast, or Windows has some sort of screencast screen recording feature. The problem with screencasting is sometimes my presentations could be an hour long. And if I make a mistake, then I get to go all the way back and redo the whole thing. Or let's say I get the whole thing done, and then I want to change out one slide. I get to go back and redo the whole thing. So Voicethread makes it so that I don't have to redo the entire thing and the entire presentation or screen recording. It incorporates discussion, both synchronous and asynchronously. So synchronous means that live interaction. Asynchronous means they can come and go and do it separately if that's what you want. It's easy to swap out slides and your narration. You can insert various multimedia, You can track comments and participations, and you can even have kids add their own slides. And while I'm thinking about it, I will post this at the end again. But if you quickly write down that bit.ly, I have these slides all saved for you as kind of a guide or reminder. So it's the 3222M capital VE. So if you want to write that down real quick, then you can access these slides and not feel like you have to write everything that comes up. All right. So in Voicethread, it does a whole bunch of these things. Okay, so let's take a look. And I'm going to show you some examples. I'm going to show you two examples. One is one for a 7th grade class, and the other one is one that I have done for the TMT. So when you go to the Voicethread homepage, it'll take you to a sign-in page, and you can actually go browse other voice threads that people have created. So for this one, I've already found one. Let me go back and open it. Okay, so this was 7th grade in action. Now, if you're familiar with 3-ax tasks, this is an example of a teacher using 3-ax in a modified way. So I'm going to click play.
Miss McLaughlin here.
Can you hear it? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear it.
A couple free throws. See how many I can make in 10 seconds. Ready? Tell me when to go.
Go. Go.
Short.
You can't get this actually on YouTube.
Okay.
Or can you? And you're going to interrupt her shaking.
We need something to get it, right? Oh, 25%.
Okay, for tonight's homework, you're going to watch this video of Mr. McLaughlin. He takes so many shots in 10 seconds. I would like for you to continue on and tell me at that rate of him making shots in 10 seconds, how many could he make in 3 hours? 3 hours. At that rate.
It's a little hard to write with your mouse. Now, that's the teacher speaking. Here's the first
what I
student.
did was I set up a proportion, because at this rate, anytime you see that, it means set up a proportion. I did he made one shot in 10 seconds, which equals x over 10,800 seconds, and you cross multiply, and then you just take
so
1 0 off of.
But then this student typed in a response. This student typed in a response, and I can just go down and see what the students, most of them typed in.
This is Caroline, and I'm going to see how many free throws Mr. McLaughlin. That's him.
Okay, so you can see how they're responding, and how they do that is, do you see this little half circle right here? If I have to sign in, I'll sign in a second, but the students click on this and it gives you some options. All right, so now let me show you one that I have made so that we can get into some of the features and teachery stuff.
So quick question with that. I understand the teachers can see and all of the students' responses? Can students see each other's responses? Like, is it for everybody or only the teacher?
It will depend on the settings that you set when you create it. So with teachers, I don't do any sort of comment moderation. But with kiddos, I taught 6th grade. I would definitely be doing some comment moderation. So you kind of have that choice. And then yes, the comments are visible to the participants once you allow it. You also have the control as a teacher to go in and delete the comments. So, well, and you also have the option to allow or disallow students to be able to delete their own comments. So once it's there, you might have a setting that won't let them delete their comment. Okay, so in this one that I did for the TMT, here, let's see, am I signed in? I'm going to sign in real quick. Why is this doing that? Shouldn't be doing this. Hang on. I don't know what my password is. Usually it's just using Gmail or Google. All right. The sign-in actually looks different. This has never happened before. Well, let's do this. Well, this is not making me very happy. I had this all set up. Isn't this how it works?
It is 2020.
Holy cow. I don't even know. All right, I'll try one more. Normally there's a place where you just sign in with Google, and I don't know why it's not coming up. So I will hurry and pull it up. You get to see all my emails. Maybe I'll move it over here so you can't see it. Oh, there we go. I apologize for that. I was all set up and ready to go. All right. Okay, so now we're in one that I have made for the TMT. I'm going to go to the first slide and just kind of walk you through. So on this first slide, when I make a comment and I click on this, I have these options and I can enable or disable. If I don't want any comments on a slide, I don't need to enable any of these. This one right here is a text response. This is a telephone response. I haven't really used this one, but I can imagine kiddos that are watching. Some kiddos have to work off of a cell phone from home. So being able to call in their response is helpful. This is an audio recording. This is a video recording. And this is uploading a document or file as a resource. So I go through, I upload all my slides, and I go through, and for each slide, I add a comment. For example, I'll hit play on this one.
This is just a quick recap of the structural components of fractions. We really talked about iterating and partitioning. So partitioning is when you know the whole and you have to find the parts.
I can move it
Iterating is when you have the part, but you need to know the whole.
Okay, I can skip to from slide to slide. I can insert video. So this is a 30-minute video. And then not only can I see where a student made a comment, but I can actually see where it is that she made the comment. So at about timestamp 20 minutes, she made a comment about appreciating the fraction sense of this class. If I click up here, I can actually see all of my slides in order. And if you see this little box, it means there's a comment on that page. So it'll take me to that page. These are me. And then this student had this comment. So she's commenting on the math and then what her thoughts were. Now, during TMT, I didn't use this heavily for student-to-student discourse. It was more of an accountability piece, as well as a, instead of just watching this over and over and over, there was some interaction. So on some of my slides, I would say, okay, in the comment bar, I want you to answer this question, or I want you to answer this question and then respond to 2 other participants' responses. I can click right here on hers and I could reply in any of these methods. I could attach a file, I could just do an audio. I prefer the video recording because it gives them somebody to talk to face, but it's not necessary. If I go back to my slides, excuse me. Oops. Okay, so if I go back to my slides right here, something else that I did is I used my iPad, and you wouldn't have to use your iPad. You could use a piece of paper and a marker. And I used my phone and I just recorded a demonstration on understanding.
A trick or something, a procedure to memorize doesn't help the kids understand words to 8/20. Now I can figure out how many chunks, if this is my whole piece, how many of these can I get out of here?
So while I'm doing a comment, this Voicethread has a feature where I can be recording and using my mouse to write, but that's only, you know how difficult it is to write with your mouse. So anything that needed more, like this one right here, I just used my iPad and made a little video and then inserted it. And if you look.
So if I want.
Yeah. Oh, I lost you. Who was asking a question? Okay, so I'll just continue. So I can insert pictures, I can insert videos. I inserted my instructions, and then I also, so not only are you reading it here, but you're also, yes, Jill, by the way, I am recording this, so I will get it for you. So here in my description, I'm actually just reading the task and commenting on what they need to do for their assignment. And then we can go through another assignment piece, okay? So let me show you some of the background stuff for this one. Over here on the left, I've created groups. I could see this be, you know, different grade levels. If you're teaching in the middle school or secondary, within a classroom, you could have the red group and the yellow group and the green group. I have not played too much with the courses yet, but basically you have a series of these, like I called it my K3 TMT. It's actually a course, and this could probably come down here. When you create your Voicethread, you have your edit, share options. So if I click share, I can share to individual people, but I can also share to groups. So if I want to share the same Voicethread to, say, my 5 instructional groups, then I can do that, but you'll only be able to comment if you're from that group. I can determine who has access. So right now, anyone can comment, but I can also set it to private, or anyone can view it, but they wouldn't be able to comment it. I've also shared it with this TMT group. I can export it. I can also take this link. So whatever learning management system that you're using, whether it's Moodle or Canvas, which used to be Blackboard, I believe, or Schoology, or did I say Google Classroom? You can take that link and it can be a direct link to your Voicethread from your learning management system. Now, Google Classroom, I believe, does not yet let you embed with the coding, but in Moodle, I can take this, copy it, and create an assignment or a page right in Moodle and paste it, and it embeds it. That way, my students actually don't have to leave the platform to go to Voicethread and come back. But I've done it both ways, and it's really, there's a little learning curve, but it's really not terribly hazardous or difficult. And then you can also post on social media. So this is the part that I really like, is that embedding code. I just copy this code, and then in your learning management system, there's usually a place to embed code. Let me see what else. So I'm going to show you just real quick. I click on create. So the first thing, one of the slides here. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to create your presentation. I use PowerPoint or even Google Slides because that's the easiest for me, okay? And you're importing the graphics and the images. If you're only having a video, you still need some sort of background for the other slides. So I usually create my slides. Then you're going to export from PowerPoint. So if I come up here and I do an export, you either want it as a PDF or one of these image files, okay? It will download it into, let me show you mine, right here. Okay, so here's my downloads right there. And earlier I downloaded a file right here. This is a zip file. These are the slides that I just created. So I can take this, I can click and drag it, and it's importing it. So I'm going to put my title, pretend description. I have now a bunch of playback options. I can set slide, automatic slide moving on. I can allow commenters to delete. I can limit student comments to say 60 seconds or 60 minutes. Like 60 minutes is going to be a nightmare, but I can do that. I can, let's see, here's where I enable comment moderation. So if I want to view their comments first, then I can do this. I can allow or disallow. I can others to make copies. I can say, well, I don't think I want them uploading files, and I really only don't want them calling in. Okay, so I click that. Now my slide is uploading and it's processing. But once it does that, then I have some options. Then I go in and I can add my comment. And adding my comment, okay, it's still processing, but I'm going to add a video comment. Come on. And now it's recording. And normally I wait till it's finished processing, but I'm trying to rush through. So I have some pencil and I can draw on my screen and it all records. So when I go back and replay it, I think the file that I uploaded was probably too big. So it will now play. Now, some of the other features I want to show you before I finish up on this is, let me go to my home. See these yellow boxes? This means they're comments. And if I click on this, it will take me to the exact slide with the comment. However, I can also come up here to the top right and I'm going to click on See All. And I have two ways to look at the comments. Now, if I click on this first one right here, it will pull up the slide and the comment. And then I can read what she has. And this is organized by day and also by Voicethread. I can also sort them by commenter. So if I'm trying to keep track of who's commenting where and what, and if they have it, then I can now sort by person and track them this way in my gradebook or in my documenting, which I really love. Now, everything that I've shown you so far is through the free Voicethread. If you end up, and I think it's about $100 for a whole school year, so go to your administrators first, but there is a student management system in the classroom setting that will help track all of your participants' comments as assignments. I have not got into that very much yet, but I know that's a feature and that may be something that you want. I've been using the free version for a long time, and I only switched to the $100 pay version because of the size of the file. You're limited on how big your file can be when you upload. So by paying the subscription fee, I could actually upload large video files, which is what I wanted. All right. Okay, so to recap, those are the benefits of Voicethread. It's like screencasting on steroids, which I love. If you're familiar with 3-ax tasks, or you want problem-solving discussions, or even if it's just a sit and get, like you want to convey lecture style, but you can have, okay, on the next slide, you're going to leave a comment on. I've also had teachers use this to where the first slide is an introduction slide with the assignment, and then the students in that group each have to contribute a slide and analyze the thinking on other slides from their other classmates. There are classroom and school licenses available, just so that you know. There's also lots of tutorials. All right, so in the chat bar, real quickly, take about 1 minute and share a few thoughts about how you might use Voicethread or how this might help you with everything that's going on. So Judy and Aaron have written that it can help students interact with the lesson. I'm not familiar with Pear Deck. I'll have to look at that. PLCs, definitely. Probably the littles, the multiple features might not be possible, but using it as a video feature where they just click play might be an option. Let's see. And what I like about that is if you just use it as create a video and it just plays through. Again, on the back end, if I have to change something, it's really easy to change. I delete a slide, I swap it out, I add my new comment just for that slide. I don't have to redo the entire thing. Gina, you said students can give feedback and create slide themselves. Me too. Me too. So I like that a lot. So it kind of combines all these things. And at the beginning, you know, I asked what makes a learning richer, and it's that discovery, the collaboration, hands-on, a chance to tell what they're thinking. So this is something where they have an opportunity to explain thinking and to at least go there, whereas just a screencast or just doing an assignment, they don't have access to that. And yeah, Rebecca, the organization of the comments is really helpful, especially since I had almost 400 participants in our TMT courses this year. And I was able to organize by commenter and just run through real quick and make sure that they had met the expectations. So it was really helpful. And then the other thing that's helpful is I could post a comment to my participants and say, go back to slide 6 and I want you to read so-and-so's comment and respond to her thoughts. Do you agree with her? What do you think? Like, it was really helpful. Yes, 400. Can you say insane? Anyway, all right, so I'm gonna go on to Desmos. And Desmos, we have about 20 minutes to do Desmos, and that is not nearly enough. So I'm just gonna give you a real fast overview on some of the potential. I think the place that you might wanna start with Desmos are the ones that are already created. We are doing a training in a couple months, an in-depth training on Desmos. If it's needed and wanted, we'll do it way sooner, something like this. All right, so let me show you what Desmos is. Most people that are familiar with Desmos are aware of their free interactive graphing calculators, but they have been building some amazing tools. And this is my favorite. Okay, so I went through and I did a search from some of the math or some of the activities, and this can be used for lessons other than math. So this one is a non-math one. Let me show you the student preview. So complete the table. My name is Angie. I like to be called Angie. I use the pronouns she, her, and hers. Okay, tell me about your name. I am named after Angie Dickinson. She was a 1970s actress. A-C-T-R-E-S-S. Okay, so I can now click to next. Write about you. So what are some things that you want to share about you as a person? Draw a sketch of yourself. Taking points. So this is set up. And if you notice, or set up so that each person can respond, down here, there's the teacher move. So there's a facilitator guide, and to customize the screen, you can change out the questions and everything. So I'm just going to click through the slides to show you how this has been done. Drag the point to show how your school experience was last spring. Ooh, I didn't get to go to any of my schools, so it was not good. All right, and I would explain why, and I could click submit. Okay, describe about you and math. Describe your ideal. Which one of these do you want to describe? So once I click on it, then I can type my story. Ooh, now I have a card sort. So roller coasters, these are my categories. So roller coasters are fun, although I get headaches. I enjoy explaining my math ideas. I enjoy swimming in the ocean. Let's see, getting called on without warning doesn't bother me. Asking questions in class, I wouldn't say that's fun, but it doesn't scare me, so maybe neither. I will never dance in public. I like working in groups. I like eating new foods. I don't care if I make a mistake, and I don't care if I talk to strangers. All right, so now I can go to the next one. Okay, so you see some of the features that are available. Okay, let me show you more of a math one that I used for TMT. Okay, so here's the student preview one. And this one was one, actually, I didn't use this one. This one was already pre-made. So now the idea is trying to get these two lines parallel. So let's see. Try it. Ooh, really close. But I'm that far off. So it's going to give me another shot. Okay. Let's try that. I think that's going to be off. That's really off, but am I closer? Nope. Okay, I'll do it one more time and then I'll go to the next one. All right, so let's try that. Oh, did I get it? No, I'm off just by that much. Okay, so if I go to the next one, in 3 attempts, now what this slide is designed to do is that it will actually pull everything that all your class participants did and calculate how many times it actually got exactly parallel. And it'll give you a graph, or a graph, a graph. So what would make this easier? Well, it might be easier if I had a grid behind it. So I can share that with my class, and then 3 other students' options would show up here. All right, so it gives me a grid. I'm going to try it again and see if a grid will help. So I notice if I look at this point right here, and where does it cross through? Right there. So if I go to the left 2 and up 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe if I go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, it almost crosses right through that. So I'm going to make it cross right through. Now let's see if it's parallel. I was off by 0 degrees. Awesome. So I could do that again. Let's see if that works every time. All right, so this one is I go up 1 and over 4. So up 1, so this needs to go right through that point right there. Okay, now this gives kids 4 chances. So then I can go through, and now I had 2 correct this time. And now it's starting to walk me through some of the instructions. How could you change the equation of the solid line so that both the dashed line and the solid line are exactly parallel? Okay, so I have my equations for both. Well, I figured out on my previous tries that if I had that same slope, and again, your kiddos aren't going to see this right away. It takes some time. Okay, now let me show you some of the teacher features. I have, all right, so let's say I like that parallel activity one, and I want to have this. So I can add this to a collection, and a collection might be like the Emergency Online TMT, that's one of my collections. You might have grade 8 algebra. You might have grade 7 on level. So whatever your collection categories are, you could save it to that. You could also copy it, and then you go in and say, I don't like this part, or I want to insert another part. I can view the dashboard. And I'm going to show you a dashboard from one of my TMT ones so that you can see what's possible. Okay, I like this one. So I created this dashboard, and you don't have to have the same class code for the activity. I could have 10 class codes. Let's say I have 10 different groups, or I have 7 different class periods. I could have a different code for each class period so as to keep my students separate. So if I view this dashboard, for students to view the activity, they can go to the student.desmos.com and insert this code. What I like to do is copy this link because it pre-populates it. So all they have to do is click on it and it will automatically take them there. Okay, so here's the teacher dashboard. And if you look on the left, there's actual student names here. So I'm just gonna show you these are the actual student names. When I click anonymize, it puts fake names. So now I don't have to worry about confidentiality. If I'm doing a whole class discussion, so let's say your students are doing, my son is doing online learning 3 days a week and live learning 2 days a week. We actually could have my students, I could project this up and use this for face-to-face instruction and not have kids worry about, or not have to worry about kids seeing each other's thinking because it's all anonymous. And then this shows me where they're at in their progress. So you can see some people started and didn't finish. Oops. Some people started and didn't finish. That's what this is right here. They did this and this and this and then stopped here. I can also click on the slide and it will show me all the students' responses just for that slide. So if I want a summary or an overview, in the slides, like this one, there's a video. Watch the video of a student explaining their answer to 63 minus 29. And then was yours similar or different to theirs, and how would it compare? So I can click play. I'm gonna skip ahead. And this video was just made using screen recording with an iPad. Before I had an iPad, I would prop my phone up and just do it on a paper and pencil. Or I like markers because they show it better. Okay. You can do snapshots where it helps you facilitate how to select and sequence students' work to facilitate your discussions. So it walks you through how to get started and to learn more. I haven't used it on this one. Then you can go to, so like on this slide, I want to see, let us know if you have any feedback on this activity. So here's where you can throw in some survey, or is this helpful or not helpful? And then I have a slide that gives them instructions. All right, so if I come to my custom right here, these are all my Desmos. Let's say I want to do a new activity. Okay, I'm going to just call it my test, create new activity. And this is what it will look like. So just like with, what's it called? Oh, Voicethread, I can export my PowerPoint slides and import them in here. You don't have to, but you just now start taking these boxes and you can start clicking and dragging, and it gives you start building your pages the way you want them. Takes a little bit to figure them all out. There's so much you can do, which is why I'd recommend maybe starting with some of the pre-made ones, or just start with really basic ones. I am more than willing to share mine so that you can get in and see what I've done. What else? You can preview it. If you keep track of the description, so there's the titles and then the descriptions, you can also, it will create that facilitator guide. So I try to keep up on those as well. What questions do you have on this? You can type it or you can unmute yourself, whichever's easier. It is really cool, Rebecca. There are some amazing features. And if you've used the free Desmos, like the calculator, the tools right here, there's these tools. All of these tools can be embedded into the teacher and the student platforms. So you basically are creating these activities for the students. So this one that is turtle time trials. Okay, plus press play to watch it. This all was built. This is one of those videos that they imported in. Write a short story about what you see. So the students would watch this and then they could write a story about it. And now there's a table. So they imported the table as a graphic and they can start entering stuff and it will check it for them too. We can also look at sample responses. Questions?
Angie, I'm wondering, we have to use Google Classroom in our district this year.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, things that I tried to import into with the link, a lot of times they didn't open. Do you know much about if these are going to be very easy to get Google to open?
With Google Classroom, you'll be able to post the link to an external resource, but you won't be able to embed it.
Right, I've posted the link before, and half the time it won't even go to the link that I posted.
I'm not familiar. What we could do is get in there and you could show me, and then I probably could figure it out. So I'd have to look at it. A lot of it depends on also on your settings on this end. So it needs to be accessible. I made all of these features accessible publicly because I didn't want teachers to feel like they had to sign up and register for a subscription or whatever. With your kiddos, you can do the same thing where it's a public thing, but the only way they can access it is if they have the link.
Right, I did that too last year because I tried to get, you know, you would think that they were going to get it and then they comment back, well, we can't get that link to work. And I got that over and over with different things. I worked with the staff, you know, the tech people, but we just had a lot of problems. I think this is wonderful. It'd be great to use. I just worry about spending all the time and not getting it to open up for them again.
I know. So I would maybe start small, 1 or 2 here, and then as you work out the glitches and let the start with simple ones, not even math heavy. So like the one getting to know you, this one right here, the getting to know you, just to see if it works. If it doesn't work, I need to know. With Moodle, I could embed the voice threads, but I had a really hard time embedding Desmos. It got really glitchy. So with Desmos, I just had a link and it would open up a window and take them there. So again, depending on the age of your kids and the pre-teaching, even with teachers, I created a tutorial for getting started. So I created a list of instructions to get started. Yeah, so we'd have to get in there and play with it because we had trouble with Google Classroom on my son's end as well, on the student end. And some kids could get in and some kids couldn't get in.
I know that's what I found that was frustrating, is that some of my kids could access and some couldn't at all. And I had to go in and make sure that that the school said that we approved of the sites for anything off-site, because it wouldn't open it for them if I didn't. But I don't know.
One thing that my son's teacher, one of his teachers ended up doing was each week he would email out a list of all the resources and the external links, so that my son could just click on it from his email if it didn't work from Google Classroom.
Oh, that's a good idea. I like that.
So at least it was available.
Right. Well, I'm trying to find a place, I tried recording the classes that we'd have, in the Meet, and that didn't work. And they wouldn't open up for the students that weren't there. And so, yeah, it was a big mess. Trying to get all that to work last year did not work very well. So
nope. Which is one of the reasons I love Voicethread, is because it doesn't require everybody to get on at the same time, but you still can have some discussion and some collaboration.
Well, I'd actually, in the Meet, I recorded, so at least they could watch it. But then I found out after about a week or two of us doing it that they weren't able to get it open. So
yeah,
that didn't work either. But yeah.
And the other thing is, this is all web-based as well, so there's no downloading. They don't have to have a computer with a large enough memory as far as being able to download. They can do it right on their device.
They've all got Chromebooks. The school assigned everybody a Chromebook. So we have Chromebooks for everybody in our district.
Any other questions? Yeah. Other questions? Okay. So let me come back to a couple of closing pieces. Again, in Desmos, there is so much. I've just given you hopefully enough to wet your whistle, but there's some incredible things you can do with this. November and March. So right now, these are scheduled as face-to-face. We are taking each date as we get close to it. We decide whether or not we're going to hold it face-to-face or convert it to a virtual setting. So right now at ISU, I'm not allowed to travel. I'm not allowed to go to schools at all. Not here in Bannock County, and certainly not wherever you guys are. So some of them might be converted to online. But this workshop, these two, the Pocatello and the Idaho Falls, they're the same one, using technology to facilitate math reasoning. It's actually focusing on Desmos and the in-depth look at what you can do with Desmos. Again, it might be adjusted to be online. So here's the other thing that I wanted to pose and throw out. If you create Voicethreads or Desmos, I would strongly encourage that you send me a link and share it with me, and we will start building a repository. So right within on our website, we'll start building a Voicethread by grade level, and teachers could come and take yours, modify it, and use it for their own classrooms instead of, every teacher having to create multiple Voicethreads. All right, so we're going to do a quick poll unless there are some questions. Any final questions that you want to ask? Oh, yes, Gina, it is all free.
Do you know if there's a limit on how many students can be assigned into like one class? Like, is there a cap?
I believe when you buy the classroom license, it's 50, and then it's $2 per student after that. I didn't use that feature. I paid the 1-year license for $100,